What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Brian Reacts, where I review amateur and pro form alike. Today, I have the form of a player who feels new to me, although apparently he's been around actually as a PDGA player since 2008, the great Aaron Gossage, who is now 27 years old. And the fact that he has a PDGA number that's right around Paul McBeth's, it's like 35,000 or something, means he's been playing the sport since he was a little kid. And boy, does his form reflect that. When I first saw Aaron arrive on the pro scene, it was when he made a giant splash in 2022 when he took Paul McBeth down to the wire at the 2022 World Championships. Gossage impressed everybody, not just as a player who had an insane all-arounded game, but he could throw an unbelievable forehand. He seemed to have the best forehand that I had ever seen in the sport. And guess what? He's got an insane backhand also. So today I'm going to showcase Aaron Gossage's backhand, which I have actually seen up close. I was just down in New Zealand and I watched the New Zealand Disc Golf Championships, and Aaron Gossage was leading the field there, where he basically kind of annihilated everyone. When you look at his form here, you're going to see exactly why that is. And of course, I'd love to always hear from you. I'd love your feedback. So please leave a comment and I will definitely get back to you. I read everything and I reply to everything in time. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump into the action. In front of us, we have Aaron Gossage. I'm not sure where this event is, but I'm going to watch it bit by bit, and I'm going to break down as he goes down the tee pad in probably at least 2,000 frames per second, super smooth, super slow-mo video, everything that he's doing right in his biomechanics. And honestly, it's pretty hard to nitpick. It's just about flawless. So right now, if you watch Aaron's eyes intently, you can see that he is laser focused, looking straight down at his target line right here, intently looking at it. He is perfectly in balance in every part of his footwork. And in fact, he will never take his gaze off the target until he absolutely has to, when his shoulder rotation requires him to do that. So the first step of the X step happens right here, planted sideways and laterally on his right foot. Now you'll notice a couple of things here that I really want to target. For one, why is his left arm forward? I actually have a video coming out on the channel specifically about this. It's called Activating the Off Arm. And in fact, right now, Aaron Gossage is activating his off arm in a way that a lot of people have not paid attention to. So much of moving your mass down the tee pad requires you to shepherd your energy. It requires you to shepherd all the energy from the back foot to the front foot, to the back foot to the front foot. You never have it in more than one place at once. And the quintessential part of moving energy around and shifting weight properly is that you are in perfect balance all the time. Aaron is moving his left arm forward and he has the disc out in front of his body because these are counterweights for intention as he moves down the tee pad to remain in perfect balance. You're actually going to see why those things need to be in this place in a second, as he does something that is really, really remarkable from the perspective of both athleticism and physicality. Watch this. As his left foot comes through, and we slow down even a little bit more, his hips are fully straight. Aaron comes off the ground, completely aloft right there. His head is in exactly the same place. His shoulders squared in exactly the same place. Everything immovable, and yet he's hovering in space off the ground in perfect balance. Left arm right at the center of his body. Disc now moved a little bit into his core, again, to maintain that perfect balance and also that little anticipation of what's coming next. So just as his left foot is touching down now, he's perfectly balanced on this left foot. Spine is perfectly aligned to this instep of his left foot, which gives him a fulcrum to push off of to enhance his momentum as he falls using gravity. I've talked before about how you want to take advantage of everything that's available to you in the footwork to generate extra power. It doesn't all come from your body, and a lot of it comes from gravity. I'm going to put a mark at the top of Aaron's head here, and we're going to watch as he continues down the tee pad and he falls into his brace, just how high to low he's going to go. So he's perfectly balanced on that left foot, striding out sideways. You'll notice the back hip is staying in tight. This leg angle is going to stay exactly like this. It's never going to waver. You're never going to see his hip point out backwards in this direction. You're never going to see his knee point out backwards in this direction. This is pesky back foot stuff that I've talked about. And in the form of so many people who are intending to rotate their hips all the way back and then all the way forward, that knee buckling out and bowing out kills all of that elastic power that's bound up in the pelvis and so on. Notice also, if you look at the way that his torso is loading here and where the disc is in space. So the disc is right here. This essentially is bullet number one, and I've talked about this in other videos too. Aaron already understands where he's going to be exerting energy, where he's going to be pulling with all of the strong muscles in his body as soon as he is firmly down on the brace of his foot. And this position should hardly waver at all. He's going to turn his shoulders more, rotate his shoulders back farther as he extends his plant foot, but he is not reaching back at all. There's no reach back. That's a bad description of what you're actually seeing when you watch pros do it the correct way. Notice it's circled the whole time. The disc just hovers there in space seemingly as Aaron moves away from it. This is an anchor point in space, created by the intention of bullet number one. And notice also as he falls down into his plant, how much height has changed, how much his height has changed between the apex when he was on his back foot and down settling into his plant. I'd reckon this is probably about 7 or 8 inches of vertical height. Aaron Gossage is a big guy. I'd imagine he's probably about 6 feet tall, maybe 6'1", very strong and athletic. And all of that captive energy is now going to go straight into the disc because he's going to be harnessing it off the piston of his right leg. You can see as he touches down on his right leg, settling into that right leg, forming this beautiful V position. He is perfectly balanced between his feet, straight down through the ground. If you were to measure the distances between here and here, I'd reckon they're almost exactly the same. All right, I'm going to clean up all that stuff. So now let's watch the pull through, as people call it. It's another term that I really, really don't like, because the idea of pulling on the disc, that intention of pulling on the disc and getting that into people's minds makes them think of things that involve their dominant arm. It involves muscling and rounding and doing all the things that we know degrade the form and cause your body to move and counterweight in strange ways. I guarantee you that Aaron Gossage, while some of his intention might be result in pulling on the mass of the disc, he's not thinking to pull on the disc at all. He's actually thinking, rotate this hip right here and activate this leg to drive all of his energy forward into his brace to allow the hips to come forward naturally. You can see him getting completely off of his back foot here into this classic position. The disc seeming to slide as if on a table all the way across here, perfectly level, under leverage. It's interesting. One of the things that Aaron does that's actually a little bit of a difference between a lot of the other pros is that he keeps his head back here. It's almost like he looks at the disc, and if you watch him up close in person, you can see him look back at the disc for just an instant. It's a little kind of, I think, visual cue that he's given himself that you might want to explore yourself if you're having a little bit of trouble keeping track of where the disc is during the mechanics. All right, so we're going to watch the swing happen here. Perfectly leveraged across his body, head in place, all the way out to the ejection point. Right leg activating ahead, hips moving way ahead of the shoulders. You can see how much of an offset is created here, all the way out to the ejection point. And Aaron is coming up a little bit on his heel right here too, as the ejection is happening. I mean, it's classic, beautiful form, perfectly braced and balanced. His center of mass hasn't wavered at all. And when the disc comes out, pay attention to how little it wobbles, even at whatever this is, 2,000 frames per second. One of the smoothest releases you'll ever see. Silky. The sound of that up close is something to behold too. Smack! So loud and explosive. Aaron Gossage throws with one of the most explosive backhands that I have ever seen, watching all of the all the biggest throwers in this sport throw. It is really something to behold. You can just see his beautifully balanced follow through here. It looks almost balletic. You'll notice that his counterweighting is very interesting. His counterweighting is behind. He doesn't really move the left leg behind him. In fact, his center of mass is still centered pretty much straight between his feet, and his back leg is counterweighting behind him rather than off to the side, which is kind of different from some of the other bigger throwers. And with all the energy gone from the throw, you'll notice he's not vaulting forward. He doesn't go flying forward. He kind of just finishes, lets the energy unload through his biomechanics, and stands up with pretty much all the energy spent watching the flight of the disc. Perfect biomechanics. You don't expect anything less from a guy who's been playing since he was a little kid, who can throw. I'd estimate that Gossage can probably throw 73, 74 miles an hour based on when I've seen him throw full power on radar. And maybe he could throw a little bit faster in the field if he really, really laid into it. But this guy is a personification of efficiency and fluid transfer of energy. Beautiful use of height and gravity. You'd be hard-pressed to find better. That's my breakdown for Aaron Gossage's form. I've got a bunch more to come. Again, if you like these videos, please like, please subscribe, please leave comments. I read and respond to everything, and I will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.